For me, cars aren't just a hobby, it's a way of life, it's my passion, and it's more than just driving. It's about understanding every part, making it my own, adding my own unique flair, and constantly learning. It started when I was really young, and I went to a load of car shows with my dad and started seeing modified Austin 1800s, lowriders, everything that had like French sort of light style. It just looked really cool and it really inspired me.
What was your first car?
Oh god, Kia Picanto. It was really zippy though. It was like driving a go-kart. It was pretty cool. I mean, I was the only one to probably put a doubled-in radio in it and a few other little bits to modify it, but you know, who doesn't on their first car? After getting a taste of modding, I wanted to take it further, and because I love Japanese cars, I decided to get a 350Z. And the current stage it's at, painting the front bumper. I've got a few areas to tweak on it, so get rid of the surface rust, do a windscreen delete on it, and I've got to sort all the trims on the interior out, and then eventually it will be down to the mechanical. So after gaining all the skills that I learned through working on my 350, it only seemed natural to me that I would maybe push myself to working towards a career in that line of work. From my late teens, I was always hanging about with most of my friends who were really into cars. Like, the car culture was something that embodied our friendship group. And we spent most of our time doing up bangers and airbrushing them and taking them apart, putting them back together. We literally just switched out parts from another car, and that's generally what we did for most of our teenage years. And then same as I got older. And now I'm really grateful for the opportunities I've been given, and I'm happy that I can turn my passion into a career. When I first went for the apprenticeship, I was a bit worried because obviously, you know, your typical wage of an apprentice is like 17. And I was like, just turned 23 at the time. And I thought, I'll go for it anyway, see what happens, you know. I went for it, and I had 3 interviews, and then I did a trial week, and then I waited to hear back for another 2 weeks, and then I got the apprenticeship and a lot of praise, basically. Working on the Z is completely different than working on the customer's car. Throughout the creative process, I can make sure every detail is how I want it to be, whilst on a customer's car, it needs to be done to the specifications of the company's requirements, and it doesn't allow me to, you know, indulge in that creativity that I would with my own car.
So, where are you in the build? Is it running?
Well, I've just got to put the bumper on, do a few little bits, and we can take it for a drive if you want.
Yeah, sounds good. Woman in this industry is difficult?
No, not really. I mean, there's a lot of misconceptions about what it's like for, you know, a woman to work in the industry. But yeah, like in the workplace, you know, you get banter, you get the mickey taken at you sometimes, but you know, overall it's just a bit of fun really, and you know, it's a nice place to work, and when you get to know the guys, it's a brilliant work environment. You know, in this day and age, the industry is crying out for apprentices. Let me start by saying that women in general are very much capable of doing the same job as a bloke. Just as good or even better. When you first look at this sort of trade and you see it's mainly dominated by men, you think, oh God, I don't really know how to get into it or how they're going to perceive me, you know. Generally one of these things where you just have to jump into it and then get involved. Originally I started off in METs, and as time went on, I learnt to panel beat, I learnt to prep them for paint, I learnt to polish, I learnt to do pretty much the start from finish and then hand it back to the customer. The great thing about working here is most of the guys here are like really into cars, like they're passionate themselves. And I often find that when I have conversations with them, it's mainly about cars and everything to do with modifying and stuff like that. For example, there's a guy here with a Skyline that he's modified, and when I looked at his build journey, I kind of took inspiration from that and then put it into my own build.
Is there any particular jobs, project you've worked on here that you're proud of?
There was a rally car project we did for AutoRaise, I think. And I think it was a Peugeot CC convertible. And literally we just bought it from an auction. And I had the job of turning it into a rally car by modifying it, painting it, pretty much doing everything by myself. The aim of it was to turn it from just an original looking car into something that looked really rally, and went from stripping it, repairing it, to then prepping it for paint, and then I got to do like a custom paint job on it, so airbrushing, and it really, by the end of it, it brought it all together and it looked really cool. Easily one of the most enjoyable experiences I've had. Unfortunately, the skill gap is quite big in this industry. Obviously, there's a lot of misconceptions about what it's like to actually work in a body shop. Go for work experience for a week and see what it's like, because that's what I did, and it was completely the opposite of what I thought. And it was great to get hands-on experience and see what it's all about. You see a lot of these commercials on TV with like Volkswagen, for example, and it's mainly just like blokes. You don't see a lot of women in their videos. If they were giving more opportunities and inviting people into body shops, especially women, and showing them that the environment and the work environment isn't actually as bad as what they think it is, especially by the fact it's dominated by men. And the reason why the dropout rate is so high is because they don't have this environment where they can, they leave school, they can come into a body shop and have a look around and see what it's generally like. They either go into it because that's all they know because their family are in it. So I think if they had more exposure to having an opening day and coming into having a look and talking to the technicians to see what the job's about, they won't end up a few years down the line dropping out of an apprenticeship. The people that started really young, that went into this industry not really knowing much about it, they've dropped out, whilst people gone into it and looked into it and thought, oh, actually, it's really cool. They've carried it on as a job. Within this industry, the beauty of having new apprentices, you can upskill them, you can mould them to how your work is and how the environment is. Compared to someone that's maybe been in the trade for a longer period of time, they might be a little bit old-fashioned, whilst with an apprentice, you're constantly teaching them new things and they will benefit your company. If you're really interested in cars and you want to have hands-on experience and build something, then there is definitely a place for you in this industry.